It's 6 o'clock. Here.
Will we approve the MSR tonight, or we?
Mistakes on it. As far as I'm concerned, but I didn't get all the way through it.
Only got, like I said, I only got the page like 23.
No?
Okay, ready on this end?
Okay. I'd like to welcome everybody to the Fraser Park Public Utility District regular meeting for Thursday, September 14th, 2023 at 6 o'clock p.m. We're going to start out with agenda item number 1, pledge to the flag. Oh. Okay, ready? Go ahead. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. Oh, thank you.
Did you say the order?
Yes, it was 6 according to our.
Okay.
Roll call directors, Director Garcia,
Here.
Director Nyman.
Here.
Director Kelly.
Here.
Director Gibson is absent. For Schoenberg and I am here. Oops. Sorry about that. Let me put down my behaving. Okay, I'll do that in a minute. Okay, item 2, discussion, vote, adjust agenda if necessary. Do we know if we need to do the closed session this evening? D?
You're muted.
You're muted, D. Do we know if we need to do a closed session or should we adjust that?
Yes, I think just a few minutes on the closed session would be good.
Okay, so that's not gonna get adjusted. Does anyone else see anything that needs to be adjusted or are there any?
I do.
Okay,
I move that we add an item to the agenda due to the need to take immediate action and that the need for that action came to the attention of the local agency subsequent to the agenda being posted.
okay, so we have a motion to add an item and can you state the item for us?
It's a discussion vote on the funding agreement amendment for the meter well project.
Which we had in our packet, it just didn't get it.
Where did you want to place that?
Yeah, where do we want to place that?
Oh, well, you can put it under 13, make it 13 E.
Okay, so the proposal is to make that item 13E. Do I have a second for that motion?
I'll second that.
Okay, is there any discussion before we take a vote? Okay, Director Garcia,
Aye.
Director Nyman.
I
Director Kelly.
Aye.
Director Gibson is absent. Director Schoenberg is an aye. That is 4-0-0, 1 absent. And then I would propose that someone also table the 18 record retention policy, since we don't have a director here for that. I'm not sure if we have time for the financial policy, but definitely the record retention policy as well as the record retention ad hoc. So 18 and 19 for sure.
I make a motion.
Actually, sorry, 18, 19. I would propose 18, 19 and 20 should be tabled.
Okay, I make an amendment. I make a motion. I'm sorry, guys, that we table 18, 19 and 20 until the next regular meeting.
Do I have a second for that
I'll
motion?
second
Okay, is there any discussion? Okay, roll call vote. Director Garcia,
Aye.
Director Nyman,
Aye.
Director Kelly.
Aye.
Director Gibson is absent. Director Schoenberg is an aye. That's a 4-0-0 and 1 absent. So motion to table 18, 19, 20 have passed. That's until the next regular meeting in October. Okay, anything else that might need to be adjusted on the agenda?
I think everything is.
What was the name of, 13E?
13E is the meter replacement. It's an amendment from the state resource board for the meter replacement.
I do
project.
have one question on 16. Do we have any information on that?
Not that I
Because
know
our
of.
Johnny is out. So
Dee, do we have any additional information on parcel B water tank repair or replacement? Otherwise, we're gonna table that as well.
Yeah, no new information on that.
Okay, so
I
I'll
make a
entertain-
motion that we table number 16
Until when?
until the regular meeting in October.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, any discussion? Roll call directors, Director Garcia,
Aye.
Director Nyman,
Aye.
Director Kelling.
Aye.
Director Gibson's absent, Director Schoenberg is an aye, that's 4-0-0 and 1 absent. 16 to be tabled until October's first meeting. Okay, so with that, anything else on the agenda? I think that pretty much covers it.
covered.
Okay, so we will move on. We are now at agenda item number 3, public comments. Is there anyone in the public that would like to make a comment, a 5-minute comment that is not part of the other agenda items, or can also be a part of other agenda items, but you just want to make a comment first? Okay, hearing none, we will move on to item 4, report of officers. Okay, report of the president is absent. Report of the vice president, I'm here filling in for the president as the chair of the meeting. Other than that, I don't believe I have anything specific. Secretary,
No report at this time?
What happened to the treasurer?
you're next. Treasurer.
Okay,
What happened to him?
I know. So, there is something we'll talk about during financials. I'm not gonna talk about that right now, but I did make, we did get, claim 29 and claim 30. And so I made, 13 transfers. They all went to the revenue operating account. And they all came from the Lake of the Woods planning account. I transferred $500 for board fees, claim 29, $58.75 for staff recovery cost, claim 29. Then I had board $600 from claim 30 for board fees. Then I had staff recovery costs from claim 30, $111.63. Then we got paid back because we paid D. Jasper and Associates all these invoices, and I'll quickly just say the invoice numbers. We did $198 for D. Jasper and Associates invoice 19-07X12 for 2026 invoice 19-08015 396 invoice 19-09013 $594 invoice 19-10013 $234 invoice 19-12011 invoice $114.80 invoice 20-01051 $871.04 invoice 20-02051 $198 invoice 21-04016X and $594 invoice 210916, and those were all off of claim 30. Those were
Sale invoices,
those,
correct?
those were invoices that we prepaid to D out of our revenue operating account. And we had to wait for the state to reimburse us this money. And so that money has now been transferred back to the revenue operating account.
Great, thank you.
And that's all I got.
Okay, and our JPIA representative.
Yes, I called JPIA this last week due to a collections notice on a board member's bond. We paid it, and JPIA was supposed to pay the company that issued the bond, and there's been some mix-up going on, and we're still trying to resolve it.
I got an email
Okay,
yesterday, I think. They said that she said she talked to the broker and they have taken care of it and we shouldn't have any other issues, but if we get a notice, just forward it to them again. So
so,
they
okay,
said it was taken care of.
we'll try again.
Thank you. Well, you did
Okay.
most of the work, so. Okay, moving on, unless there's any questions, I'm gonna move on to item 5, board member initiatives. Any board member initiatives?
No.
Okay, item 6, managers report. Our manager is not here tonight. He's en route to a training. Huh?
In
Home
home,
for training.
Oh, home from training.
yeah.
So, do you have anything that he gave you to report on?
Mm-mm.
Okay, how about 6A administrative assistance report?
No. That I could do this.
Okay, so if there are no questions, we really can't ask any questions, so we will move on to item 7, standing committee reports. Accounts payable committee.
We met, we looked over invoices, we corrected what we could, we had Deborah cut the checks, and we'll talk to everything else in the financials.
And part of that financial, I guess I'll say that after we pay from the revenue operating account, the invoices that we did pay, we have like $70,000 left in the account.
Operating.
So
We gotta talk about where we're switching money from, because we have to also pay bonds.
that's down right now. We'll talk about that in financials.
Okay, so, any questions for accounts payable committee? State update meeting committee.
Lisa, I lost my my feed here for the audio.
Me too. I was just wondering if it was just me. Can you hear me, Dee?
Yes, I can hear you, Pam.
Yeah, we just can't hear Fraser Park.
Yeah,
Okay.
let's see.
I thought it was just me for a second.
Yeah. Let's see. I'll see if I can, Johnny's not there, so I'm not sure I've got,
Give me 1 second. All right, you're right.
Okay, sorry about that, technical difficulties. So yes, financial committee met, made a bunch of changes. We still are not done. And we're meeting again next week. So, and hopefully next week or the final one, we should be able to send everything into the auditor. So that's financial committee. Any questions for
And,
financial
are we
committee?
going- At some point, are we gonna see, like, from 2023, I mean, from 2022 to 2023, the actual expenses for the year versus what our budget is, to see how it's affecting us because of all the costs and inflation and everything?
Yeah, I mean, we've been doing the quarterlies, so it's really probably the next quarterly, we can talk to Deborah and figure that out so that we have, I mean, we're still
Cause
on.
I would just like to see where we stand, cause I know that we've been having some difficulties. I know that part of it is payroll, but a lot of it has been expenses, like high expenses and
So did Deborah, am I wrong? Didn't we do all the quarterlies for 22, 23? Because this next quarterly should be 23, 24. Is
Well, we
that
didn't,
correct?
can you hear me?
Yeah,
Okay, so we didn't start doing the quarterlies at the beginning of 22, 23. What we did was the last 2 quarters. So the first 2 quarters are going to have to be done in ad hoc.
okay. So we need to do those quarters and then Deborah can release
Yeah.
something.
because I'd like to, so we could go over it just to see where,
What's
how,
going wrong?
right, to see
Yeah.
where we've been really spending all this money, because it seems like we're just,
And one thing that the financial ad hoc has been doing, as well as the financial quarterly committee, is that a lot of items were not, especially assets, were not going to the budget. So now, I mean, we've really kind of streamlined stuff where almost everything is classified for operating, budget expenses. So it should be a lot easier, correct, Deborah? For when we pull everything out this time, it should be pretty easy to look at the budget, or much easier to look at the budget.
Well, I think,
Or come up
yes,
with-
isolating operating items for your operating budget versus planning for your capitalized items. There's a more definitive line now. Is that what you're
Yeah.
asking?
Yes, yes. I asked that, but in a very, not very, articulate way. Okay, any other questions for financial committee? Okay, generator pad construction committee of 1.
We have no new information since we did the tour of the sites and came up with some ideas. We haven't received anything.
Okay,
Well, I'm sure we'll cover that in the next.
yeah, well,
agenda
yes,
items.
yeah. Good. Okay,
Moving right
okay.
along.
To financial business, item 9, discussion vote on accounts payable and financial information. That is Deborah.
Good evening, everyone.
Okay.
So we cut 32 checks from the operating account totaling $57,138.33. We cut 12 checks and we voided 2 checks for a total of, is that right? $56,650.94
and that was from the Lake of the Woods planning account.
from the planning account. I'm sorry. And the extraordinary expenses on the revenue account include our employee benefit medical for $9,543.92. There was a payment to Santana's Plumbing for work done at Pico Trail for $9,450. Our Edison bill was $8,892.16. And the state compensation work comp final audit generated a final premium of $13,011.22.
And that was for
For the
Last year.
2022 policy period.
Now, I have a question on that, Deborah.
Mhm.
I know that they do the actual and they do the audit at the end of the year. Once they do that audit, do they update what they're charging us for the year? Like, since it was such a big difference because part of this was payroll and stuff. So, it's all part of that's based on payroll. So the cost, and so my question is when they send us a bill, monthly, do they update like say, okay, it was this much? Are they gonna increase how much
Yeah.
they charge?
You're asking about ADP?
Compensation.
Or workers' comp?
Workman's comp.
Okay,
I'm talking about workman's comp.
okay.
Okay, so the billing process, as I understand it, for the 2022 policy period, the final audit generates, in this case, an AP, and it only affects that policy period. What state fund asks us for the next policy periods are estimates based on the last 12 months look back. So if our payroll has been increasing, did I answer your question?
Yeah, so then they will increase our monthly payment that we have to pay to workman's comp.
It will affect the new policy period, but the final audit does not directly affect the new policy period.
Right. They're just making up for what the actual was for
Right.
that year period.
Right. And the estimates that they request from us are only for 6 months. They're not necessarily for 12 months. So that's
Okay.
part of the issue. Are there any other questions?
I have a few questions. So my first one is kind of a two-part, Santana Pumping. There's a note on here that says duplicate from last time. So we double checked to make sure that we hadn't paid this, because I could have sworn that we paid this, but maybe it was for
No,
a different
it was
road.
It was Walnut Trail.
No, no, we paid one, but we paid another trail for Santana as well. The second trail, but I think it was Elliott or something. It was some other
It
trail.
was some other trails. We pulled the
You pulled
invoice.
it. Okay, so then my other question on this though is when something like this happens, why is it not insurance if we had to bring the road back to the condition it was in because of, I mean, on Pico, isn't it that gentleman that it keeps going like almost through his house? And is that something that,
I think this is when they were doing that shutdown and they did the
Pressure reducing valve.
there was a pressure reducing valve on Pico?
I don't, John's not here, but I think.
See,
I
the
believe
problem
there
is
was.
Johnny's not here.
I know, I'm asking Dee though. Dee would know because he had to do it, because he goes through Dee to do this. Dee, do you recall that Pico Trail had a pressure reducing valve? I know there was one on Walnut and one somewhere else, but I thought that was Elliott or some other trail.
Yeah, Johnny mentioned that. I'm not sure what the status is, but he did mention that he found a pressure sustaining valve or pressure relief valve. But that's really all I know.
But that's not something we necessarily replace. I'm just curious because this is restoring property, not restoring the road. It says restoring property to original condition by using dirt and compacting it, blah, blah, blah. So I just have a question on this. I mean, I think we should pay it, I guess, but I'm
Hey,
a
but
little,
we should
Ask Johnny.
Johnny,
yeah, because I
could
just.
you make a note on that to ask about that?
So, and then my next question is, answered by me reading this, so I'm gonna forget that one. My next question had to do with, fuel. And I thought that possibly one of these, it was a really high amount, the 200
Diesel.
That's
is
diesel.
supposed to be diesel, but it's written as gas. So did that get changed, 266.08? Because on here, it got charged to
Yeah.
fuel 51032, not diesel.
It says
Is it
diesel
on the
that.
Voyager account?
Yes,
Okay.
I'm just double checking because I wasn't there for the,
We-
it says it here, but it says the wrong thing there on Deborah's stuff. If you
Oh,
look at
Oh.
Deborah's, it does not say she charged it to diesel.
we didn't catch it.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so Deborah, they didn't catch something, so
Okay.
at least one of those, the $288 charge, and I'm questioning actually 266, I'm questioning a couple of the Chevron charges. I believe might be diesel and not, and they didn't get changed correctly on here. So. That's that.
So you'll update that?
I'll
Deborah?
have to check that because it says truck 226 on my notes.
I know it does, but doesn't make sense because there's,
I'm
multiple
not debating,
charges
I'm
that-
not debating it with you. I said I'll have to check it. You all have
no, I
the
know.
backup there in the office and I don't have it here
it
with me.
says on your receipts diesel, but it doesn't say it on the front.
Okay,
So, this one, I don't know why I pulled this out. Why did I pull this out? I think that one's okay. And then my last question was, Griffith Company. Same thing, alternative to road base used to replace crushed rock a customer placed in the road before a leak on Logan Trail. So wouldn't that be potentially an insurance thing? It's like almost $1,000. And that's not even for the truck that brought the stuff. That's just for
For the road base.
the road base. And then we paid Kern Trucking to truck it. So I guess my question is probably for Johnny, but it's similar to this question, like, why are we just paying that? Shouldn't that stuff be insurance?
JPIA
Yeah.
insurance.
Yeah, because they're fairly expensive, both of them. I mean, one's $9,000 and the other's like a few $1,000s also, so. I mean, it does raise our rates. Our issue, so that was my questions. Any other questions?
Questions?
No?
Okay, so I will entertain a motion to pay our bills with keeping in mind the questions that we had.
I'll make a motion to pay our bills.
I'll second that.
Okay, any other discussion? Roll call directors, Director Garcia,
Aye.
Director Nyman.
Aye.
Director Kelling,
Aye.
Director Gibson's absent, Director Schoenberg is an aye, that's 4-0-0-1 absent. Okay,
Okay, we're,
so
Good
now,
night, Deborah.
wait,
Oh,
no.
wait.
No, don't go anywhere.
yeah, we're still on
Okay.
financials because we have some other issues to discuss, which Director Nyman is going to bring up.
Okay,
But
So-
before you start, I have a question. I'm sorry.
okay, go ahead, Deborah.
I'm just making a note about the questions that you have, Director Schoenberg. And
Yes,
what the one for Santana, and then what was the other one?
so one is Santana, one is Griffith Company, and then the
Okay.
other one is Kern, well,
Kern-
in
Kern
conjunction, Kern Trucking, which is who brought the base to us for the Griffith Company.
Okay,
Needs to be changed as far as classification as Voyager.
okay,
The other questions I answered myself by looking more closely at the invoices.
okay. Thank you.
Can I start?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay. All right, so our interest in principal payment is coming due October 15th. And so we need to put money into the account for USDA payment account. The total amount is $115,593.75. Now, we do not have enough money in the revenue operating account to cover that. And from the revenue operating account. So we have to make a decision as to which account to take it from.
Okay, so I'd like to recommend, since it's the closest to operating revenue, I'd like to recommend we take it out of our general account. That's our
Which is
personal
pre-USDA.
money. It's pre-USDA. However, I'm a little upset that, and it's not our fault, but we need to really, like you were saying, take a look at what's going on, because that account has already been diminished by about 100,000 in the last year. And now it's gonna be diminished, it's almost gonna be empty.
Well, I
So
know
it
we
was-
took 50 grand to put into the revenue operating
Right.
to cover expenses, and we've had major expenses. Now, the other thing that we're waiting on to try and get payment from, which, because Johnny keeps saying he wants to wait to the end. I think that we should ask Johnny to talk to, what is his name, that does the telemetry?
Oh, Ness.
Ness, talk to Ness and find out what his final charges are gonna be, and add what we've already spent. And then he can send an email saying, this is the total cost. We want approval to take it from the replacements.
Well, which we
fund.
should have been doing all along. I
Right,
don't know
but
why
he
we waited till the
didn't
end.
want to do it till it was all done.
He
And
doesn't want to do multiple requests. He just wanted to do one.
he just wanted to do one
I
request.
know, but we should have just had that request into the USDA. I think he didn't he talk to Dan?
He didn't do a request.
Okay, because that, you
So-
can't. Now they may not pay for it after the fact because they didn't agree on it, but we'll see, but, yeah, so that definitely should be coming out of the replacement fund.
So could we make a note to Johnny that he needs to get the final amount from Ness? And he can get with Deborah as to what we've already paid out? And to send that email, because we need to get that money back into our revenue operating account. And because that's like, I don't know how much it's been, but it's probably $50,000 or something like that. It's a huge amount.
And I think he now needs to ask Al and not, I mean, Dan doesn't do that anymore, so. And Al's a little bit more of a, he's probably gonna wanna know why we didn't say anything to him ahead of time.
Well, that's what he has to deal with.
Yeah.
That's, I mean,
No.
so that's why I'm
Well,
bringing.
I'm saying only Al, because I can never
Right.
say his last name, I was
Coriel.
Coriel.
That's why I'm bringing it up. So anyway, so if the board is in agreement, I'm going to transfer the money from the general fund. And what,
And how much is left? I was trying to look it up, I think it's.
well, you're gonna have
150 or
about
something?
50,000 left. It's 115,000 I'm gonna take out, so it's, you're gonna have,
Yeah, I'm looking it up.
here, I can just do it right now. 163, 169, 367, 593, 75. It's $53,770.70.
Okay, well, that doesn't affect anyone else at all, because that money is money that we've had since before we took out any loans,
Right,
from USDA, so
okay.
that's the best. way
And
to
so,
take it.
just so the board knows at this point, which it still doesn't cover the whole amount for the year, we voted on it last time. So we're taking $7,000 a month and putting into the USDA account. So that we have the money that is coming out monthly.
You're talking about the SLA?
No, we're taking from the revenue operating account, $7,000 a month into the USDA payment account monthly, so that we're starting to build money in there. So we have money in there for our April payment and then our October payment. It still doesn't cover the total amount, but so it'll be a monthly expense that we're already occurring.
When did we decide on the
We
$7,000?
did that last month.
Okay.
And,
When Jerry and I
okay,
were here.
okay, here, let me just go.
I was looking at the wheel.
Okay, this is what we decided last month, and we can go back and check, but the capital improvement account, we reduced that to $15,000 a month. And we're taking $7,000 a month into the USDA payment fund, and we are paying to the SLA $5,000 a month.
Okay, and I'm just curious why we didn't just divide. I don't know where I was last month, I must have been tired, but I'm curious why we didn't just divide the entire.
So
Amount
that's
that
what
we
I was
owe.
going to suggest that we do. And
Because
it's
that's what
probably
we've done
gonna
in the
go,
past.
so it's gonna go up to about $10,000.
Right, but that's
a month.
smarter because then it's just there already.
Right,
Being paid monthly, and then when we need it, it's already there and we don't need to worry.
right.
about it.
So then we're having to like really look at every month. This is, you know. this-
Right, but I still think that's what we've done in the past when we were in this similar financial situation.
Right, but we hadn't done that forever, so this
For a
is what
while,
we just
yeah.
started. So if the board's in agreement, I will take the yearly amount.
Yeah, can we just do all of that as a motion? Can I entertain a motion
Sure.
for those multiple things
Oh.
that we're doing, so it's all written down as a motion?
You got divided yearly.
Okay,
Let me speak.
okay, yeah,
By 12, and that's the money, the amount we'll put in. So at the end of 12 months, we have the whole payment.
And just maybe reiterate the general fund agreement too, so.
Because
can vote
that we
on
don't, that money, we need that money that come next month. So that's gotta come out of the
Okay.
general fund.
I make a motion that we take the interest plus principal payments for loans 3, 4, and 6, which totals $115,593.75 from the pre-US. And in addition to that, we will take the yearly amount that we need for principal interest for in April and the principal and interest for October. We will divide that by 12 and change the transfer from the revenue operating fund to the USDA payment fund monthly, so the money will be there when we need to make the payments.
24.
Do I have a seconder for that motion?
I'll second it.
Okay, is there any other discussion? Okay, roll call directors, Director Garcia,
Aye.
Director Nyman,
I,
Director Kelly.
Aye.
Director Gibson's absent, Director Schoenberg is an aye, that is 4-0-0, 1 absent. Motion passes.
okay,
Okay, is there anything else under accounts payable financial information that needs to be discussed before Deborah leaves us for the evening?
I think we're good.
Okay, thank you so much, Deborah.
Thank you. Everybody have a good evening and a
We're
good
done.
weekend.
Good night.
Thank you, good
Good
night.
night.
Okay, so for everyone else on here, we need to briefly do a closed session. We're going to go into closed session in just a moment, just so you know, if you aren't used to this. You will stay where you're at. We will go into a breakout room. We will do a brief closed session and then we will be coming back out after that closed session. So at this point, I'm going to make an oral announcement prior to the closed session. Government Code 54957.7A, a representative of the legislative body to orally announce the items to be discussed in closed session prior to any closed session meeting. So these are dealing with items 10 and 11. So item 10 is closed session pursuant to Government Code 54957, conference with real property negotiators, Government Code 54956.8, property that in respect to this is 255-320-28. 9 and Jasper, negotiating parties, Veronica Alcaraz and Carlos Acedo. And under negotiation, a price in terms of payment for that property, as well as item 11, closed session pursuant to Government Code 54957, conference with real property negotiators, Government Code 54956.8. Properties in question, 256-07054 and 256-07055. Agency negotiators Lisa Schoenberg, Brahma Nyman, and D. Jasper. Negotiating parties Jeff French and Emily Wainwright. Under negotiation, price and terms of payment. So at this point, we're going to break off into a breakout room. To briefly, is there a question before we?
I'm gonna recuse myself from any discussion
Okay.
on 10-11, and I'll be outside whenever you're done.
Okay, so Director Garcia is recusing himself from discussion and any possible vote, correct?
That's correct.
For these sessions.
Thank you.
Thank you. So at this point, we will go into closed session minus Director Garcia. And anyone who is not a property negotiator on the board, and it will be brief, you guys, so we will be back soon.
You just wrote it.
One of the, I get used to that.
What
All right,
time
let me
does it say?
6:40.
Okay, I'm just gonna say that.
I'm gonna go get,
No, 6, yeah, okay. So 8 minutes, okay, so we are returning
hold on,
from,
I was gonna go get Jerry.
oh, okay. One moment, we're getting Jerry. Director Garcia. From outside.
You can do some work for them.
There you go.
Should I start?
And you note in the minutes that he was not in closed session. We need to.
Yeah, you need to know in the minutes that he recused himself before the closed session, yeah. Director.
He was walking, yeah, he's here.
Okay, Director Garcia is walking back into the room, so we are returning from closed session at 6:49 PM. In case I didn't say it verbally, we went into closed session at 6:40. And there were no reportable actions, motions taken, so we are back on item number 12. Which is discussion vote update on Fraser Park Lake of the Woods Consolidation Planning Project. 12A, discussion vote review of the project timeline and extension. Are there any changes on that right now? I don't believe so.
At this time, I don't know of any changes and we've already submitted the. What did they say? That one's gonna take like 6 months to 9 months?
We asked for a 6-month extension.
Right, and Lawrence in the last meeting said it was gonna take 6 to 9 months.
Yeah, that's right.
So hopefully we'll have to push as we get closer.
Okay, so anything else on 12A? Otherwise I'll move on to 12B. Okay, 12B, discussion vote on budget adjustments. I don't believe we have a budget adjustment currently.
But Lawrence approved the last one.
Lawrence did approve the last budget adjustment, so that's good. Moving on to 12C, discussion vote on the project technical memo. Anything new, Dee?
I just finished, just recently, the technical memo for the early drilling of well number 8. And so now I'll start on the technical memo for I've been working on that one too, but the pressing one is well 8 and that one is done. So we're ready to submit an application. I've got a couple of things to review and I'll do that tomorrow. And then we're ready for submitting for early drilling of well number 8. And a lot of the information, most of it for that came out of the report that I previously did. So really what this is just taking that information for that previous report that I did about 6 months ago and then putting it in an order that would be suitable for the state. So
I believe, Dino, the last time that I was part of the state update meeting standing committee, and you guys can tell me if I'm wrong, Lawrence said that it wasn't that we should submit the construction, that we should be submitting construction rather than early drilling and breaking out well 8, because by the time we would get that, it would be about the same amount of time that it would take for the construction application and everything, because we were talking about putting the construction application in like a year ago. So I know we still have time on the construction application, but last I remember is Lawrence was saying, don't break it out, that we just need to put it as part of the project.
yeah, I don't recall exactly what that was, but I do know that it will be much quicker if we drill well 8, get on that, get that funded. We can work on both of those at the same time. But it's gonna take time to do, more time to get the regional project approved. Just the environmental work itself takes about a year. So, you know, we have preliminary work already done. And making the application for the early funding won't affect our regional project timing. But it will be much quicker to get that well done than it will be to get the regional project. So that's
Now, I have another question, which I think I already answered, but I really can't bring it up until we go to the meter replacement, but it has to do with well 8. But I guess if no one else has anything on project technical memo, I'll go ahead and move on.
Move on.
Okay, so 12D, discussion vote on the acquisition and development of the well 8 property. We already discussed that and partially in closed session. Is there anything else in open session we need to discuss?
nothing for me.
Same thing. Well, 9, anything else? That's 12E.
Nothing for me.
Okay, 12F, discussion vote on sphere of influence, that's tabled, although we do have the MSR paperwork. I will move on to 12G since we have that in our packet. Discussion vote on project municipal service review, quote, draft MSR, data collection, scope of work, and LAFCO. Are we needing to,
When do we need to have this approved?
yeah, when do we need it approved?
Right away.
Because I already,
Hopefully Ravish has finished it. The district needs to review it. And then we need to send it to Lake of the Woods for their review. And then we can submit it. So,
I already have some issues.
Well, yeah, I have some, well, I only got through about half of it, Dee, so I have some,
Can we go through just page by page and
Sure.
see?
yeah.
Okay, so I didn't look at the table of contents. Does anyone have anything on 3? I.
Yeah, I just had a question. Under the executive summary, you said 17 area homes. Is that like Bear Court and down in the Wash? Is that what those homes are?
yeah, there was an estimate of ones that were not, they were on private wells.
Okay, so, yeah, because I mean, you were adding in 17 area homes, and I was just wondering, okay, that's fine.
They're part of the 300.
Okay, and then on number 4, on the next
Okay,
page,
so that, hold on one
Oh.
second. I want to just go page by page. It'll
Okay.
be easier. So anyone else on 3? No. Okay, so go ahead and do number 4, and then I have some stuff on 4.
All right,
so, what?
I just have a question. That's a pretty lengthy document. Are we going to go
Well,
through
can you
this?
just make, no,
Well,
can you
well,
just
we're
make some
just-
initial notes on how far we are right now? Because I think there's some changes you may need to make.
I just want some clarification on something. on
And I have
things.
some changes.
Well,
So
Wait.
that,
yeah, I'd suggest that we, get all the way through it. Certainly, let's talk about what the concerns are now, but, we need to meet and get those concerns out, addressed, and changes made. Get that information to Ravish so he can do that. And then we'll,
right, but that's why I'm asking some questions, because I'm not, it may be simple answers that you can provide me. That's why I'm asking the questions.
Sure, yeah,
Yeah,
Or
can you,
I'm
my
good.
understanding,
I'm good at yes, no.
okay. Okay, on 4, when you add in the 84 connections, is that just for Lake of the Woods Mobile Village, even though is that because they're in our SOI?
Right,
Or that's the only reason, because they've decided not to, Bob Connor had decided not to be part
right,
of
but
it.
it says potential.
Potential, okay.
and additional are analyzed for the service area. It doesn't say we're gonna do it, it's just, what the MSR has to do is it has to say that we have water to provide to them, should they decide to
Okay.
annex.
Okay.
Okay, so I have some questions on 4. So first of all, disadvantaged unincorporated communities, we're not included in that, aren't we as well, a disadvantaged unincorporated community?
I didn't anticipate going through this thing. What page are you on? I'm just.
4.
No. I got,
IV.
oh. All right. Okay. All right, I'm there.
There's actually numeral. Okay,
Where are we?
Okay. At the top of the page, disadvantaged unincorporated communities, are we not a disadvantaged unincorporated community? It only talks about Lake of the Woods.
Yeah,
Where
I
are you
asked that
talking
question.
about?
I asked that question to Ravish, and he was going to research that. I thought we were, but he said he qualified it, and he said the reason that he didn't include us was that he had to address the system, the community that is being incorporated in Fraser Park and not Fraser Park itself. And that was what the answer was. And that's why he didn't include Fraser Park as a severely disadvantaged community.
And Lisa, to answer your question, you are a disadvantaged community, so you have to be to qualify for the grant. So you guys are.
Yeah, I'm just a little worried if it doesn't say anything about, so can we just make absolutely sure, just absolute clarity that we're not supposed to include ourselves, that we're only supposed to include who's being incorporated in? Because in my mind, when we join, even though we're incorporating them, we're also sort of joining together at the same time. So I just want clarity on that.
I'll get that.
And then below that, under present and planned capacity of the public facilities, it talks about 3 active wells. We never got 3 active wells. We only have 2 active wells. The 3rd did not happen.
Right. And I also pass that along to Ravish as well. So that, yeah, that has to be corrected as well.
and does Lake of the Woods have 5?
Yes.
Yes.
Wow.
Lake of the Woods,
And-
you have 5 wells, correct? 5 active wells?
Yes.
Wow.
And can I get a copy of that MSR so I can take a look at it as well, please?
Yeah, Carlos, did I sent it to the district for their review first, but I certainly didn't mean to ignore you. I will get you, I'll have Ravish send that to you as well.
He's feeling snubby. Okay, on Roman numeral B, there are some typos under accountability for community service needs that you should look at under the 1, 2, 3, 4, on the 4th bullet particularly. It probably will not look good if we keep those in there. It talks about 17 homes using individual non-community, but then it doesn't say well, it just skips to the next line. So there's like a line missing there, or a word at least missing, and then it has double buzz on the next line. So
Oh, yeah.
you might want to look at that. And I'm a little concerned about the way our sphere of influence has been written on the next bullet point, because it talks about to the east, and it talks about what we're including, but it doesn't really specify the east boundary. And so I'm concerned because the east boundary is in all of the mapping, but it's not really written in this accountability for community service needs bullet. So I'm talking about the properties below Fraser Park, between Fraser Park and Lebec that we're including.
Yeah, I commented on that too. And regarding what our service, our SOI really is. So I anticipate that'll be corrected as well.
Okay, but anything else on that? We're just gonna go for a few more, D, and then we can carry it over to the next meeting, but I just wanted to at least clear up some of these that came up immediately. Is there anything on page 1 that anybody has? Okay, page 2, I have some stuff, but anyone else have anything on page 2? Okay, on page 2, it talks about on the west San Luis Obispo County, which is fine, but it does not talk about Lockwood Valley, which isn't part of Lockwood Valley, still within that area or not? Within that greater, I mean, it's like a weird, the boundaries are greater than, when it's talking about methodology and approach, the planning area is greater than the actual SOI. So it talks about these boundaries that we never even considered because they're past the planning area, but I'm just curious, if we're talking about boundaries, I mean, it talks about bounded by West Side, by I-5, by Los Angeles and Ventura counties, by San Luis Obispo County, but I think there may be, and I need to look it up, and then it says other primary unincorporated communities in the planning area. It says Lebec, Pinyon Pines, and Pine Mountain Club, but isn't part of Lockwood Valley still in there, or no? I know
No.
Gorman's not, because Gorman's completely in LA County, but
Yeah, not in our SOI.
no, this isn't talking about the SOI. It's talking about the Fraser Park planning area.
It just
That's different than the SOI. It's larger.
how I read that was the communities of Fraser Park and Lake of the Woods analyzed in this report are in the Fraser Park planning area, but it doesn't mean that we have to include the whole planning area in our SOI, just the areas that we.
No, that's not what I'm saying. You're misunderstanding me, D. It's not talking about the SOI at all. It's talking about the planning area and the demographic and economic information. And it's stating what boundaries we are bordered by, which is different than our SOI. And then it's stating what primary unincorporated communities are in those boundaries.
Okay,
It has nothing to do with our SOI.
I'll certainly bring that up to Bravish. I think
Okay.
we may have to have a conference call, maybe a Zoom call to
Okay.
direct input.
Yeah, it's like it's larger than our SOI. It's the entire planning area, which I never even realized borders on San Luis Obispo County, but it does.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's all I have there. Anyone else on 2 or 3? 4, 5, 6. I have something on 6. On the map on 6D, the Lake of the Woods figure 2-2, you have the eastern boundaries are not including something that's already in our SOI currently, that little weird ear that always kind of gets left out. It's not, it should be yellow and it's not, it's green, indicating the proposed SOI and not the current SOI.
Okay, I missed that. Yeah.
Now 6, 7, and if we come up with other stuff, we'll go back to it, but just early stuff. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There was another mapping thing I had somewhere here. I mean, I don't think I wrote that one down. So does anyone have anything past that?
I do. I just have on page 13, I was just, in your description of the basin, you said, it says that if you go down there, it says depth to water, full condition was assumed to be 30 feet below the lowest point in each cross section. Full volume, it's to be 3,100 acre feet and 4,200 in the middle subbasin, which is Fraser Park, totaling 7,300 acre feet. And then it says the one from 2008 is 7,800. So you say, according to Jasper, the recent extremely wet weather should rectify a somewhat dire situation in Lake of the Woods where water levels have dropped dangerously close to the bottom of the aquifer prior to recent precipitation. It estimates that water shortage had dropped to 500 acre feet and 2,700 acre feet. So we're down 1,500 acre feet deep in our basin.
Where are you, Brahma? I can clear that
At
up.
the very bottom, at the very bottom of the page,
The last paragraph
the last
on 13.
paragraph,
on page 13.
because the third one from the bottom says that our basin is 4,200 acre feet. So I'm just asking a question because it seemed like that's pretty low.
I'd have to look at that, Brahma. I'm not quite understanding what exactly the situation is, but there are a number of numbers there that do come from the report. And there are some that I think got carried over from the earlier one that he did about 5 years.
Well, okay, so
I
then
don't have
I
any-
had a question. On page 16, if you look at the demand, and I know table 2-3 says it's for a dry period from 1984 to 1988. You have a normal year, 8,300 acre feet in that table. Okay. But my question would be, if you go back to page 13, you're saying, our estimate, the estimate for that is 7,300 acre feet, or the Galley report was 7,800 acre feet.
Right. I put that in there as a comparison because I think the gallery report was too liberal about the amount of storage that's actually there. And so they were doing that.
But when you look at that chart, it says basin storage, you start on a normal year having 8,300 acre feet.
No,
But over here on this page, it says that our storage is
73.
7,300.
This was the report that Galley did, not my numbers. And so this is what Galley reported back in whenever that report was done. My table is to correct that and use a more conservative number on the amount of acre feet that are in storage. I took a more conservative look because I want to paint the worst case situation.
Okay, but you're not, I don't think you're understanding what I'm saying, because I think, or maybe I'm not understanding. Because what is the total basin storage for both Lake of the Woods and Fraser Park? I mean, you have 8,300 acre feet in there. That's more than what Galley said on page 13. On page 13, it says Galley in 2008 estimated a full volume at 30 feet depth of 7,800 acre feet.
Joan, can you mute yourself, please? You're quite a bit of sounds coming from you.
Brahma, I'll have to look at that and just make
Can you
sure.
just, verify it, because because from page 13, the galley says 7,800, and you've got 8,300 in here, which is more.
That is not my number. It is reporting Galley's number. But I'll clear that up. I'll clear that up if that creates the confusion, we'll certainly clear that up. But my numbers are less than Galley's, and that's what I base my report on, which is in that big report that I did 2 or 3 months ago. But I'll look at that, Brahma. It wasn't confusing to me, but I'll reread that and see if that is, and make sure that the report reflects really what I think it
It
should
just
be.
seems to me that the table if I'm understanding your table, that the basin storage that you start out with on a normal year is 8,300, which seems to be more than what you had on page 13. That's why I'm asking the question.
Yeah, we're getting nowhere. I'll research it, Brahma, and get back with you, but certainly didn't mean to. Well, again, this I read it and it made sense to me, but
Right.
research it
Okay.
to make sure it's
Okay. On page,
Before you go on, I missed something on 12 you might want to write down, Dee. That you have our springs as being active. They're not currently active.
where is that? Where is it?
That's under Fraser Park PUD water supply.
On page 12.
On page 12, the kind of lower part of the page, under Fraser Park PUD. It says these 2 active springs, it's talking about our springs, but they're not actually, it says not contributing water, it says active. So it's right, but I don't know if you want to say they're active because you mean active by the fact that they aren't dried out, or?
Yeah,
No,
that's what he's meaning.
That's yeah,
They're running.
that's an incorrect statement, Lisa. We'll have to,
Okay.
I can't find it. My version, tell me what table or under what.
That one's page
that's page
12.
12.
I'm sorry, I went back.
She went back on you.
He went backwards, yeah.
Sorry, I missed that when we were talking.
Is it under the heading Cuddy Canyon Groundwater Basin?
No, page 12, Fraser Park PUD. It's like the lower middle.
Oh,
of the
yeah, yeah, yeah.
page.
Yeah, that's on my page 11. I've got a little bit different version than you.
Okay, and then Brahma.
Okay, on page 20,
Which would be 19.
okay, where it says estimated demands, it says Fraser Park PUD. Fraser Park PUD is a meter system serving 1,303 connections. But on page 8, you say that we're serving 1,293 current connections.
That's what I got here on page 30, on page 20.
20, I have 1293.
Yeah.
No, not on 20. I got this.
Number of
Yeah.
connections, it says 1293. Oh, I see that at the bottom.
Down at the bottom.
1303.
1994. That number 1303 is incorrect. I missed it.
Okay. Okay, good. I just,
That's from the old report.
okay. And And this is just my last question, when, on page 21 on your table, and I'm just a little confused on how, because you have in here saying that the maximum month, because when you read in here, it says, let me see it says, decrease. This is met, okay, Fraser, on average, Fraser Park pumps so many million gallons, 49 acre feet in the maximum month. So if we're pumping 49 acre feet at a maximum in 12 months, that's 528 acre feet. But you say our annual water production is 360 acre feet.
Right, because the maximum month is in the summertime. And so you have to be able to meet that. It doesn't mean that every month is,
Okay, so that's just saying that, so probably for 3 months, we're doing 49 acre feet, and then maybe the other 9 we're doing way less.
yeah. It's 3 to 4
Okay.
months, but I picked the maximum month out of the records for those summer
Right.
months.
Okay, I just wanted to understand that. Okay.
And I have a page 23 under Fraser Park PUD, where it talks about continuous chlorination. And it says continuous chlorination is provided to the 3 wells, 1 non-existent, and 2 springs, which were not active, supplying water to the Fraser Park PUD. So that needs to be fixed.
Yeah,
Okay,
yep. I didn't,
23, Fraser Park PUD.
Yeah.
That far.
I need to do a more complete review of this, obviously. This is not my writing, but I certainly should have picked that up. So, sorry.
That's okay. That's why we're reviewing it too.
So I think that's as far as I got. I didn't get all the way through it.
That's as far as I stopped at 21. So we'll have to do some more review on this, Steve, but
But those are just some initial for sure changes that need to be looked at.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you guys don't want to go through the rest, but we'd be here all night.
Next
I
week.
will,
So
I'll-
we'll be collecting a little of that money that we have paid out to you guys and in our personal bank account. Okay, so anything else on 12G?
Nope, I think that's it for tonight.
Okay, 12H is tabled right now, the memo of understanding memorandum. We're not there yet. That's after the MSR. 12I, discussion vote. This is for Lake of the Woods. Where are you folks at on your projects and your projects under this consolidation?
Hey guys. Hey, just a quick question though. I don't have a copy of the sphere of influence map. Dee, are you able to share that with me? I went through my records the other day and I couldn't find it.
I will share that with you, Pam. Sorry.
Hey, no, that's okay. I just didn't have it in my folder and didn't think anything of it. So, anyway, $3.5 million project is moving along. I'm not sure if you guys heard that we did get the additional lines that we requested in our additional change order way back when. So that's going to be tagged on. Yeah, so we'll get more lines done. $5 million project. We should have 30% designs done by the end of this month. It's been, you know, a lot of going on with this project, the 3.5 that's currently going on. Nothing new on the generator project. We have been in discussion with Lawrence and our engineers, getting more information for DFA. Blending station is back to normal. Our nitrate levels are all sitting around 6. So it's good.
Oh, great.
Doing really good. Yeah. Well, number 4 has been approved to go back on service online. We're just going to have the electrical panel worked on and then get it back up going so that make sure it's all ready to go. And then our rising of our levels. So 2 of our wells are kind of leveling off in our south zone, like 4 and 6, well, numbers 4 and 6. In our north zone, those ones are still rising, but we're not seeing any more rise in nitrates. Everything's coming right down. So that's it.
I have a,
That's all.
Thank you.
Pam, I have a question. Well, number 7.
Yeah.
That seems to be the one that is sort of characteristically has an issue, and it's okay now.
Yeah, they're coming down. All of them are.
Mhm.
I
Alright.
will be sending you the updated information probably at the end of this month. Yeah, around the 29th, once I get my updated numbers. But well, number 7, last check was 8.6.
8.6, so it is down. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's good.
and then well, number 1 was right at 5.7. So like I said, our blending is right at 6 right now.
Well, 2 had high fluoride. Does it still, or is it?
Yeah, well, number 2 had 1.98 last
Oh.
read. So it is high, but by the time it goes through the blending, it's down to 1.03.
Great, okay.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Pam. Any questions for Lake of the Woods? Other questions? Okay, on to 12J. I don't believe we have any claim or payout discussion yet. Is that correct?
No,
That's not till next week.
Yep, next week.
Okay, so if there's nothing else there, I'm gonna move on to 13. Discussion vote update on FPPUD meter replacement project and emergency well supply projects. 13A, discussion vote update on well number 7.
Curtis had spoke with Lawrence a couple days ago. Yeah, about 10 days ago, about somewhere in there. And Curtis added some clarifiers to the change order. The number didn't change, and he sent everything back to Lawrence for his review and approval. So we're waiting for that. But anyway, that it appeared as though Lawrence was on board with change order number 2.
Okay, I have a question. I'm not sure where I can ask it at exactly, but maybe I should ask it at 13E. I'll ask it at 13E. So 13B, discussion.
On the meter replacement, Neptune had a window of opportunity to squeeze our meters in, and now they're estimating that the meters will be delivered near the end of October of this year. But now the hangup is they can't get the service brass, the corpse stops, the angle meters, etc., until after the first of the year. So while we're going to have the meters, we don't have the hardware to hook them up. So that looks like, unless things change, Stillbrook won't be able to get going until after the first of the year, unless, of course,
now, are we receiving, are they gonna keep the meters with them, or are we receiving them here?
we can do it 2 ways. One is if they have it in storage at their plant, we'll go over and check and make sure they're all there, inventory them, and then send a letter to the district that says they're all here. And or we could, before we pay for them, we definitely have to make sure they're in storage in a safe place. Or we can put them in storage here, pay for them and put them in storage here. It's
Well, I guess that would be a question for Johnny, whether we have storage.
It's
capacity for that.
probably better. I think we had discussed that in the past, having them store it rather than us store it.
Right. But they're going to submit a bill to us for those meters once they come in?
yeah, once they come in.
Are they gonna want payment on that?
Yes. So once they come in, we'll have to inventory them and make sure that they are all there, and then they will send us a bill. And,
They'll send us an invoice,
yes, correct.
and so we can submit it to the state.
Yes.
Now, I
They
guess
have to Wait for their money?
so I guess the question, how much is all the meters gonna cost? I mean,
They're gonna have to wait. We're not gonna be able to.
Even
fund that
the
to
bridge-
I mean, we're not gonna be able to,
Yeah,
because we're gonna end up,
we'll have to submit for payment for those meters. And
Okay.
I don't know the number, but,
And then their insurance would be covering them on them holding those meters.
right. Right. If they're in their possession, actually, they're in charge of those until we accept the project. So, even if they're installed in the ground and somebody comes by and steals one, it's the contractor's responsibility until we say, okay, we've accepted your project and the district takes possession of that project.
right. Okay,
Okay, so item 13C, discussion vote on claims and payouts. I don't believe we have anything new there until next week. Discussion D, discussion vote update on the bridge loan requests and payments. Right now, we
we don't have anything
Have anything?
on that, but that's where we're probably gonna use for Unified Field Services when we get the final, the final bill. The one bill,
Well, 7?
once Lawrence accepts that whole thing, the 113, of course, we took the $27,000 out because we're gonna end up getting that and paying for that. So we'll have to figure that out once they submit but Lawrence has to approve that before we can submit anything to the state, so
Can we take a 2-minute break so I can use the restroom because I need to discuss stuff on this next one. So, there's item 13E now, which we've,
right. I make a motion that we take a 5-minute break.
I'll second that.
okay, any discussion? Roll call directors, Director Garcia,
Aye.
Director Nyman,
Aye.
Director Kelly.
Aye.
Director Gibson is absent, Director Schoenberg is an aye, that's 4-0-0 with 1 absent. We are on break for 5 minutes, that is at 7:31, we will return at 7:36. Okay, maybe you had to go on.
Well, we got the chance, so.
Okay. Okay, we're bringing the meeting back to order a minute early at 7:35, and we are on item 13E, which is the new amended funding agreement for the meter well replacement project. And I have a couple of things on that. Not on the first few pages, which is just the standard stuff. Did it? So, my first question comes up on Exhibit A, the second page. Page 6 of 24, D. Are you back? Maybe D's not back.
I'm back, but I don't have that document.
You don't have that document?
No,
Funding agreement amendment, you might not.
Okay, so then maybe, let's see, this would be Oscar. So Oscar, you may need to talk to them. I guess it's not really D specifically, it's more Oscar.
What?
So, on page 6 of 24, Exhibit A, there's a typo that I think is concerning to us.
Wait, is Oscar there?
Are you there, Oscar?
Yeah, I'm here, but what is it that you're talking about?
The funding agreement, the amended funding agreement for the project, for the meter replacement, and
The extension,
it's an extension, an amended funding agreement.
you didn't get a copy of that?
Yeah, I just
emailed it to him.
Yeah, I just emailed it. What page did you say?
Exhibit A, it's page 6 of 24.
No, 7 of 20.
6 of 24. Okay, so on page
The table.
6 of 24 on the table, item 5 says completion of construction December 31st, 2024. That's fine. I'm concerned about B2, final inspection and certification. It happens before completion of construction, which is a little bit of
Oh,
a
wow.
problem, September 30th, 2024. So we need to fix that date. That certainly should not happen before the completion of
Oh, I
construction.
saw that and I didn't, I was like,
Everything else on there, to me looked appropriate on that table.
So should that be January of
It
25?
should be, yeah, like maybe February, project completion report. It needs to happen right before that. Yeah, like January, I suppose.
I'll
Of
make
25.
to all that.
And then I think.
oh, the only question I had, D,
Who doesn't have this?
I know he doesn't have it, but I still have a question for him.
Okay.
On this amended, it says phase one on A 1-1, which is page 8 of 24. When it says final budget approval,
are you talking to me, Brahma?
yeah, I'm talking to you.
I don't have the document.
I know you don't have the document, but I need to give you a figure because we need to make sure that that figure is correct. Because this phase one is the phase one part is for Unified Field Service Corporation, which is for well 5. And they said approved costs $1,077,392. That was the original number.
That was the
Was that
original.
the
number.
original?
Yeah.
Okay, so I just wanted to make sure because I know that Lawrence was working with Curtis to have the final, whatever the final costs were and stuff, and which is gonna be less than that amount, correct?
Right, yeah.
Okay, that's all I wanted to make sure, because I wanted to make sure that they hadn't changed anything on there. So,
And then I have a general weird question. In this agreement, it actually says that that part of this money that's set aside for us is to replace well 5. So I have a question. I know we raised all the soft costs quite a bit, and we raised the contingency for the change orders. But if we hadn't raised all that stuff as much as we have, isn't there enough money here to actually try to dig another well? And why wouldn't we be able to approach Lawrence with that possibility? Because there's enough money in the original agreement, and it doesn't say well 7, it says a well to replace well 5. So can't we have all the plans, we have all the specs, we have everything but the right place to drill. Couldn't we try to drill another well?
That would be something to address with Lawrence during the ad hoc.
Yeah, whether we could.
I'm no longer part of that committee.
Yeah, the
Write it
question is
down.
whether we could
Talk to you next
transfer the,
week.
I would like to encourage us to see if Lawrence would be willing. And if that was the case, I think we would have to somehow go in the same general vicinity, but I'm wondering if there's a way to, you know, we had originally, and I know it's really hard to get in there, but we had originally talked about to the east of our current, but right on the border of the CNC property. And I don't know if that would then be too close to the projected well 8, but that was actually a deeper shelf and in the same aquifer potentially as 5. So I really hate to spend all this money and not get any bang for our buck out of the well.
well, I don't know, Lisa, we can sure look at that, but that whole project, you know, is gonna be maybe $1.5 million again. Maybe even close to 2. We do have some equipment left over. But out of the 1.7, and really it's 1.2 is what it was finally approved to be, about 820,000 of that is stuff that's already done or will be paid. So, you know, it doesn't leave, it leaves about 400,000, say.
I understand that, but I just don't understand why we need to have so much money. Like, we just basically filled in all the other categories, like change order contingency, planning design, construction management, administration. Meters don't take that much planning and design. They take some, but we've done a lot of that already. So I don't understand. We haven't spent all that money. We've spent, you know, a little bit of it, but there's quite a bit left over in that, you know, out of that 1,500.
okay, he doesn't have this. This is.
Yeah, you don't have it in front of
This
you,
is
but
the problem, that he needs to see this because this is probably something that he's given budgets
Can-
for.
can we talk about it as part of the project ad hoc before the state update meeting next week?
Here, the one thing I'll tell you, I would not recommend drilling any place, anywhere, except for the sites that we have already tested, because that's the only sure way that we can get a good well. And so really, if we have any money that could be transferred, I would put it on well number 8 and move that ahead. Because the other places, as we've just seen, you know, we thought we had a sure thing being 100 feet away from well 5, and it turned out to be a bust. And so, you know, I don't think it's worth taking a chance on doing that again. The,
And quite frankly, I don't think that Lawrence is gonna be amenable.
He might though,
There's not that much money. I don't know where you're talking.
there is.
No, you got what, $200,000 and what? They took,
Well, can we go over this the project ad hoc instead of doing it here when you don't have the numbers to look at the?
yes,
Like, do we have can we figure out, it shouldn't take that long, maybe,
Tiffany, can you
Now
send him a copy of the,
This,
yeah,
okay.
that would be good.
Can you come up with a date right now, just to try to talk about it?
Let me look. Let's see here.
talking about before next Thursday?
Yeah, before next Thursday. I mean, we can make the financial ad hoc an hour shorter and do an hour on the 18th, the 18th.
What time are you talking about?
Financial ad hoc, we have from 10 to 1 right now, so sometime in there. On
Well,
Monday, the
You
18th.
wanna do
Um,
noon?
Yeah, I'm not available then. I've had some pretty severe,
Medical?
medical things that have happened as a result of this injury. And last Wednesday, I ended up in the emergency room for internal bleeding. So I spent the night
Oh,
there, and I've got to go back to, I'm actually doing okay. It wasn't fun at the time, but, I have an appointment at 1 o'clock in Santa Barbara to chase this thing down because, something in
Yeah,
there.
no, take care of yourself, Steve.
So the 18th, I will be out of town, but Tuesday, the 19th, I'm good. The 20th, I'm good. 21st,
Unless- Maybe the 19th, first thing in the morning, like at 9.
that would be fine.
Yeah, I could.
Did you do 9 AM on the 19th?
Pardon?
Can you do 9 AM on the 19th?
Yes.
Okay, like 9 to 10?
Yes.
Okay,
Okay, I'll put that.
let's do that, and I mean, he can say no, but when I was trying to crunch the numbers, it seemed like we might actually be able to somehow do it, or even, I mean, yeah, if there's some way to attach it to the well 8, I'm not sure if he would be willing to do that, but it certainly seems like we shouldn't just waste that money that we have, and I don't believe we really are gonna need that much contingency or any of the other management stuff. It really shouldn't be that expensive.
Well,
Oh, you talking about 780,000 contingency?
And some of those other numbers that went up in order to just cover without him taking away any money, yeah.
yeah, let's see, let's go through it and then let's ask Lawrence about it and see, what his reaction is.
Okay,
Okay, I've got the 19th.
Okay.
19th at.
perfect. 19th at 9 AM.
Okay, got it. And Tiffany will send out a Zoom invite.
Okay, but,
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, that's fine, but
Okay.
when do we need to have this into them?
30 days from the day they sent it,
which was today.
which was, I think, the 12th, 2 days ago.
Oh, so you got time.
Well, yeah, but we need to,
Well, I don't know if it changed, it would change stuff because we'd have to lower some of his projected budget amounts, so, yeah.
I mean, that's the thing is we need to approve this. This is September 12th. So we need to approve this by, what's our next meeting?
Our next meeting.
Is the 28th.
And the 28th, yeah.
So we have to approve this. So we won't approve this tonight.
No,
So leave this in your books. And we'll have to
So once we have that discussion and once they take it to the state update and you discuss it, then we can
Then we'll
approve the amounts.
we'll approve this contract thing.
Because he may let us take a chunk of that money and put it back into well replacement.
Is there anything else that you,
I didn't say anything else. That was my current.
yeah,
Okay, so are there any other questions on that before we move on? Okay, item 14, discussion vote on pipeline replacement project. 14A, potholing and mapping is completed. 14B, discussion vote on engineering and design.
Where are we on? Where-
14B.
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Okay. We're at a point where we can start the process of applying for construction funding. I think Carlos or Oscar. And because we have plans that, and we have the cost, we will have it pretty well identified. Actually, we pretty much have it right now. And so, what's our next step, Carlos or Oscar? Are you guys doing the TMF for that application?
Well,
okay, so
we already
you
have,
jumped ahead to E.
we already
Can I
have the
just
general,
consolidate?
go ahead, Lisa.
Can I just consolidate items 14C, D, and E because we jumped ahead? So let's discuss all three of those simultaneously since they
Yeah.
all apply.
yes.
Go ahead, Carlos.
Okay, so for the construction funding application, there's 4 packets that need to be completed. We already submitted the general app since a long time ago. We would need to do the financial application, then we would need to do the technical application, and then we'd need to do the environmental application. So the construction funding application will not be complete until all 4 of those packets are submitted. And so we still haven't done the environmental. So in order for that construction application to be complete, we need to have that done as well.
That has been done. It's and Tom Dodson has issued that, Carlos. I'll get you a copy.
Okay,
Right?
Yeah, it's already been submitted to the state clearinghouse.
yeah, but was Tom gonna do the environmental application as well?
I don't know that, Carlos. I'll check with him.
Okay. If not, then I mean, I can do it, but it's gonna be similar to another one from another project. Since it has an NOE, then it's kind of like a basic environmental application. But the only issue is that if we find out later that the funding that we're getting for this project is federal, then we would have to do all the federal cross cutters and stuff like that.
Mhm. Well, we're at a point where we've got a good handle on the construction costs, and we have the plans. So we're at that point where we can apply for funding.
Okay, we'll start, I'll start getting everything organized for that.
Hey,
And what about the financial? Who does the financial, Carlos?
I will complete the financial, and the technical package, and then we'll check with Tom Dodson about the environmental, but if not, I can do that as well.
Okay,
great.
so that's what this is that we got here. D is the estimated cost, $9,314,740.92.
Yeah, we're at about 8.5, I think, right now. 8.2, 8.5, and we're putting the finishing touches on that.
8.5, but then on top of that, that's like you got labor compliance, permitting, construction, staking, $84,000.
Well, labor compliance isn't that much, and
Yeah. What is construction administration, D?
that's everything that we have to do during the construction project. In other words, we fill out a form every month, application from the contractor who applies for progress payment. We have to review his progress, and we have to fill out forms that go to the state in order
That's
to.
all engineering. That's all engineering costs.
That's administrative, actually.
But it's your engineering costs,
Yes,
right?
that's right. Our administrative.
Okay. Okay.
As is inspection.
As also as inspection.
Yep.
Okay. Okay,
Okay, moving on. Are there any?
so, how long do you think this will take, Carlos? I mean, I
Well-
know it's a lot of work.
Well, it's gonna take a
I'm
while
not-
because I'm gonna have to be collecting stuff from you guys, so it just depends on whether it's available or not. Cause we're gonna need your audited financial statements and stuff like that. So let me go through the list and I'll get back to you guys as to what I'm gonna need from you guys.
Need the audit, we haven't completed yet.
What's,
Close.
okay,
It will be,
You need the 2022-23 audit, correct?
Yeah, I'll need the newest stuff.
have they?
But let me go
started
through the list and I'll send the list to Tiffany of everything that I'm gonna need. Cause
How long does they do that audit?
and then as far as the technical package, I'll probably have to update the TMF and stuff like that.
just let us know
One
what
that
you
was
need.
submitted before.
Yeah, let us know what you need, Carlos.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, I'm gonna move on to item 15. So thank you. I think we're done with Carlos and Oscar, correct?
Yeah, I think that's
Thank you.
it.
Alrighty, you guys
Both
have a good night.
night. Okay, item 15, discussion about update on Cal OES Community Power Resiliency allocation to special districts grant. We're on hold with the generators for A because we need the load banks, which we can't do till they're in place. So we're gonna move on to 15B, discussion vote on engineering and design. Where are we at on the pads? Dee?
We are holding to get we need the exact dimensions of the generators. We have the plans started. We just need to make sure that we get the generators oriented on the pads. So we've asked Johnny if he could measure them, but we can actually come up and measure the generators. They're in yard. We just need to have some dimensions, and then those plans will
Don't, are those dimensions in the specs from when we bought them?
not necessarily, we need actually a physical dimension of the generator itself on the axles.
Okay, so we need to push ahead on that so we can, because we don't want to take too long, because we want to get them on pads so that we can get the load bank so we can finish up,
Well,
right?
yeah, we'll get that information. We're ready to go pretty much. Get the load banks in, we'll be ready to go. It's just that We need the load banks. If the load banks should come in about the end of October, what we understand. And so once those are in, then they can be installed.
And how much do we still owe them?
A lot.
Yeah,
Do
quite a bit.
you know the figure, Dee?
I don't know the numbers right off the top of my head. But I can, yeah. I can tell you, well, no, I better not guess
Okay,
where we are.
So
Curtis
we're gonna
is
have to
doing that.
So, hey,
I can get that for you.
probably.
Beautiful.
Yeah, okay.
okay. Okay, so moving on, any other questions on this before I move on?
Do you need any information from him, Jerry? We'll decide.
Not yet, that's till they have the dimensions. And then you guys will look and see if you can fit those pads in those spots somehow.
Okay.
Okay. So we're 16's tabled, we're on new business now, item 17, discussion vote on the district financial policy.
You can leave. Good night, Dee.
You take the rest of the night off.
Oh,
Take care of yourself.
yeah, thanks. Thanks. I'll make
Yeah.
it for two.
Go have a beer on me.
Okay. Well, have a good evening and we'll talk.
You too. Take care of yourself.
soon.
All
Okay.
right, thank you, Dee.
Be well.
Will do. Bye-bye.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so why don't I just read through the the added areas and see if we need to change anything right now. So under so the date obviously will change, that's up at the top. Under budget control, cash receipts and disbursements. The changes there are checks received from the state and county are given to the administrative assistant for deposit into the appropriate accounts, so that they're not just coming
Right.
into the,
Yeah,
so I think that looks fine.
yep.
Okay, do we want to just like check in case we have a, okay, so A is a yes. Okay, so on item 2, financial reports. All reports are prepared by the bookkeeper and billing clerk and distributed to the board, bookkeeper, general manager, ad hoc committees, and or standing committees as needed for review monthly at the scheduled meetings.
That's good.
Everybody's good with that? Okay, 2A, balance sheet tracks the cash and cash equivalents in all district bank accounts. Currently 14 of them, so just change the number from 12 to 14.
Mhm.
Okay. Next item is all the way down towards the bottom of the next page. It's an I item, check detail. Oh, no, I'm sorry, H. So it changes it to 14 and credit cards currently 2.
Yes,
That's good. Okay, and then I check detail generated through QuickBooks. This lists all of the checks to be approved for payment.
yes.
Question, credit cards, is it 3? Cause I'm counting 2 as mine and Johnny's, but is Voyager?
Yes, Voyager's a credit card, as is. Wait, isn't there one more? They said Voyager, there's.
Well, no. Each guy has a credit card.
No,
No,
only Johnny and I have credit cards.
No, the Voyagers.
Oh, it's just one Voyager, they all share it.
it's just assigned different numbers, so they have to dial in the number when they go to the gas pump, like, you know.
Their truck
228
numbers, yeah,
So yeah, so that should be 3, I believe.
yeah.
Good catch, so that needs to be changed just there. And then, so I know, but what we don't have here, under check detail, we also have a detail for a couple of the different accounts. So there's a detail for, the credit cards,
Mm-hmm.
separate details for each one. Voyager has a detail.
All 3 credit cards.
And yeah, and both yours and Johnny's have a detail. as well as we detail lumber,
Ace.
Fraser Ace now. Individually, so that probably should be in there as well. So let's add Ace. Lumber,
Is like a J and K?
yeah,
Okay.
right? Okay, under 4 for bank accounts held, so you just say all of them revenue operating, general fund, capital, SLA, distribution, system emergency reserve, covering for reserve.
Oh, there's 14 there.
Construction fund, planning for, well, 14 and they have the right names. Meter well supply, pipeline replacement, payment fund, inspection projects, yes, that looks right. Anybody see anything weird there? Okay, under 3, capital improvement reserve accounts. And then also at the bottom of that, this account is funded through a monthly transfer from the revenue operating account, which is correct.
Now I have one question. Okay, so here's what it says. Account is used for repairs and upgrades to existing distribution system. The board of directors may authorize use of capital reserves during the budget process. So does that mean that if for some reason, let's say we used up all our money that we had and we needed to take money from there, that we could take money from
It
there?
says capital reserves are also available for unplanned, unbudgeted capital replacement. Authorization for the use of capital reserves for unplanned capital replacement will be consistent with the current resolution for district banking and board policy. So as long as you make a motion
Right,
and it falls under our current plans for that money, I mean, we wouldn't want to take money from there for some other kind of thing that had nothing to do with, that's why I was saying we need to go out of the general fund, but
right.
But yeah.
But I'm just saying, so what happens in the future? Let's say our general fund is gone. And we're still, and we haven't done a 218 and we're not making enough money. And we have to cover
so then
payroll,
I
or we
think.
have to cover
I
some,
think you want to put a clause in there that says something like this. Accounts can be redistributed per motion of the board.
yes,
In an emergency, monies, and it probably should say it on all of them.
yeah,
In an emergency, monies can be redistributed to cover funds needed per a motion of the board, it needs to be well, obviously it would be a board motion of the board.
yeah. So we need that on,
All of them.
yeah, well,
Yeah, I think you should just put it on all of them, just in case.
yeah.
It's not A and B.
just
No,
not A and B.
C, D, and E.
C, D, and E.
And then, then capital improvement SLA account, this account is used for expenses categorized as short-lived assets. Authorization for the use of this account will be consistent with the current resolution for district banking and board policy. This account is funded through a monthly transfer from the revenue operating account, and then it'll just have that additional clause. E, distribution system emergency reserve account, this account will be funded at a minimum of twice a year in November and May.
Through the district share, through the,
And through, well, I don't remember, funded a minimum of twice a year. We have that also?
What
I
is
thought
that?
we, oh, I don't.
You guys put that in the
This is-
original policy.
Yeah,
I'm
I
not
don't think
sure.
that that's correct. I think we're only funding it through the district share of property taxes, standby fees, 7-year abandonment fees, and new connection fees and backflow.
isn't that November and May when we get those?
No, we get them
No,
throughout
throughout
the year,
the
so I think
okay.
we need to get rid of,
Get rid of
twice a year.
minimum twice a year. And just say
This account will be
funded at, funded through the district share of property taxes. Standby fees and abandonment, reconnection, new connection fees, black bulb.
Right. Okay, and that's it. So, do we want to
Okay.
approve this tonight with the amendments mentioned?
I'll make a motion that we approve the financial policy for budget control, financial reports, reserve accounts, reporting and periodic reviews with the changes that we have discussed.
I'll second that.
Okay, any other discussion before we take a vote? All right, roll call vote. Director Garcia,
Aye.
Director Nyman.
Aye.
Director Kelly,
Aye.
Director Gibson's absent, Director Schoenberg is an aye. That's 4-0-0 and 1 absence. All right, on to. So item 18 was tabled, 19 was tabled, 20 was tabled. We're on 21, review and approve meeting minutes for the various 8-8. We'll start with 8-8-2023 AP standing committees. I'll entertain a motion.
I move that we approve the regular, the accounts payable standing committee minutes for Tuesday, August 8th, 2023 at 11. With any of the amendments that were sent to Tiffany previous to and after the meeting, as well as any additional amendments or typos or other errors that we may not have caught or that may need to be corrected.
I'll second that.
Okay, any questions? Roll call of directors. Director Garcia,
Aye.
Director Nyman.
Aye.
Director Kelly, Director Gibson's absent, Director Schoenberg's an aye. That's 4-0-0, 1 absent. Okay, let's move on to the AP. It's doing some weird audio.
Okay.
Okay, so we're moving on to 8-10-2023, the regular meeting minutes.
I move that we approve the regular meeting minutes for Thursday, August 10th, 2023 at 6 p.m. With any of the amendments that were sent to Tiffany previous to and after the meeting, as well as any additional amendments or typos or other errors that may have not been caught or that may need to be corrected.
I'll second that.
Okay, any other questions before I take a roll call? Directors, Director Garcia, Director Nyman.
Aye.
Director, and you were absent, so you're good. You read them. You're okay. Okay, Director Kelly,
Aye.
Director Gibson is absent.
I was absent. I
Yeah,
abstained.
but as long as you know, you don't have to abstain if you watched them or read them,
Oh,
on
okay, okay, then
Okay, Director Gibson's absent, Director Schoenberg is an aye. That's 4-0-0 and 1 absent.
oh, wait a second, I can't. No, this was the 10th, August 10th. I have to abstain.
Okay, so that's,
I abstain.
okay, so that's 3-0, 1 abstention and 1 absent.
Sorry.
No problem.
Not
Okay,
to be missing a meeting.
yeah, but just to remind the directors, if you go on and watch on YouTube or wherever the meeting, you are able to do the
Okay.
minutes. Okay, so, moving on to the 8-22-23 AP Standing Committee.
I move that we approve the meeting minutes for Tuesday, August 22nd, 2023 at 11 a.m. For the Accounts Payable Standing Committee with any of the amendments that were sent to Tiffany previous to and after the meeting, as well as any additional amendments or typos or other errors that may have not been caught and that may need to be corrected.
Second that.
No, there's isn't this the meeting I was at?
No, it wasn't.
Oh,
No,
Yeah.
it wasn't.
Yeah,
Nyman.
one of them, Kelly, was gone.
Yeah.
you're right.
Not the one.
This one, Kelly was gone.
I was gone.
Oh,
No.
oh, that's,
Yeah,
So then you got Kelling and Nyman present. so
yeah, the
it should-
USDA one was, okay, so I just need to change it.
oh, yeah, you need to put Schoenberg in there.
Sorry, we do have typos.
Okay, good catch there.
Okay, moving on. So, any other questions or issues with that one?
No?
Okay, and we have a motion with
Yeah.
the amendments. So we already read the motion. Was there a second?
I seconded it.
Okay, so roll call directors, Director Garcia,
Aye.
Director Nyman.
Aye.
Director Kelly.
I wasn't here.
Director Schoenberg is an aye, Director Gibson is absent, 4001 absence. Okay, last but not least, 8/24/2023, the regular state planning and project meeting.
Okay, I make a motion that we approve the regular minute meetings for Thursday, August 24th, 2023. With any of the amendments that were sent to Tiffany previous to and after the meeting, as well as any additional amendments for typos or other errors that may not have been caught or that may need to be corrected.
So we have one issue.
I know.
Did either of you listen to, watch, because otherwise we have to table this motion because there's no one to make a second.
That's right.
Sorry, I did not.
I didn't need.
Okay, so that motion, due to the lack of a
So
second,
leave your
needs
thing
to be
in
tabled.
in your book.
Until
Leave
our,
it in your
why
book.
don't we tabling it until our next meeting?
Our next
next
meeting.
meeting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or statement.
Okay, so that's all of our meeting minutes. We are on item 22, discussion vote on future agenda item. Okay, nothing, so we're going to, and I'm just gonna encourage before we close out of here, directors who are absent to watch, so that we don't have to table things, watch in between our meeting, because it's available. Okay, and so with that, I will entertain a motion.
Hey,
I'll make a motion.
Lisa, can I ask a real quick question? Can you explain to me real quick the difference on the CIP, the difference between the SLA and the RES?
And the
Oh,
RES,
The reserve and that whatever the SLA stands for?
okay, so the SLA is short-lived assets, so those would be most assets that are about a 10-year life. 10, maybe even 15, but short-lived, less than 15. And then the regular capital reserve would be longer, and then the emergency would be for obviously emergency like pipeline replacement or something like a hydrant or something like that.
Okay,
Did
thank
anyone
you.
else add anything to that?
No, I think you got it covered.
Okay,
Okay, I make
so
a
we have
motion.
a
I
motion.
make the motion that we adjourn.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, any discussion? Anybody want to stay here longer? Okay, roll call directors, Director Garcia, Director Nyman,
Aye.
Director Kelly,
Aye.
Director Schoenberg is an aye, Director Gibson is absent, and so that's 4001 absent. We are adjourning at 8:19 PM. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you,
Thank
ladies
you all.
and gentlemen.
Good
Have a good night.
Thank you.